Hey everybody, this is John Franklin Reviewer. Welcome back to my channel and a new video, which I'm doing a ranking video of all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and all of the Friday the 13th movies, where we have 20 of them. Give me a comment down below if you've seen both these franchises and how would you rank them, or if you even just want to give me maybe your top 5 of both franchises. You can do it that way there too. That's perfectly fine. So let's get ourselves started. Number 20, the worst of the worst of these two franchises is gotta be Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. This is probably not going to be a surprise to a lot of people. This is a bad movie. It's great seeing Ken Hodder come back. There's a couple cool deaths in this movie. This is a very boring movie. You get a very little shots of actually Manhattan, where a lot of this was actually filmed in Canada, I believe Toronto. The acting is horrible. About an hour plus of this movie is only on a boat, and it's like, it sounds great on paper, knowing you can't really run anywhere. You can jump in the water and try to swim this to safety, but the execution really was not that good. Moving on is number 19 is Jason Goes to Hell. Another one that seems very unique on paper, but this is a movie where you hardly actually see Jason, which is very sad, and what they do to his characters. I mean, I blame a little bit of Sean S. Cunningham coming back, and he didn't want to have the hockey mask and have Jason. I blame the director, Adam Marcus. I mean, this was his first movie out of college. Okay, kudos on that, doing a horror franchise, but not with the 9th movie. If it was like maybe the 2nd or 3rd Jason, I could have seen that. Oh, very amateur. Very gory when it needs to be, I'll give it that. All the characters in this movie are just pretty much downright horrible. They do a little bit better with their acting than Part 8, but it's like you just don't really give a damn about most of these characters here anyways. Number 18 is going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I like the love interest Lisa. There are some cool things that Freddy does, like, you know, you have the body, Jesse, and I have the brains, and he rips off his skull there and shows the brains, which I thought was really actually unique. Really looking at Jesse, I'm just not really a big fan of this character. Just don't really like the whole story. The deaths I really didn't care about, and just certain things that they actually tried to do with Freddy, almost like retcon what Wes Craven did in the original. Number 17 is going to be A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. Now, I'll give it to Jackie Earle Haley for his one chance right now. I doubt he'll ever come back if they ever get going on this. They'll probably get someone much younger if possible. There were some humorous things from him, but he was more serious, like Robert Englund was supposed to have been serious in the first one. And that's fine. That's what they wanted to go with, that they didn't want to do silly Freddy. But you didn't really care that much about the characters. The one who plays Nancy, I can't think of her name at the moment. She's another one that she didn't even want to be in this movie here, so why the hell did you do it except for the paycheck? No surprise, I'm sure. Everybody else she didn't really care about. Yes, they were sleep deprived. Their acting is supposed to be pretty bad because they haven't slept for so many days, but it's still such a boring movie. So the visuals are really cool. There is a scene in a pharmacy where Nancy sees Freddy and he's kind of jumping out at her, and sometimes he disappears. I kind of like that scene. I definitely like Nancy's mother. She has more balls than the original Nancy's mother, so I give her credit on that there. Number 16 is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. Now, the stuff that I actually do enjoy about this movie would actually be the comic book guy versus Freddy. I think is actually kind of a really cool, like, practical special effects that actually does work for me. Alice I really like in this here, and her dad. I like her dad a lot better in this movie than in Part 4, just because Part 4 is that cliche, I'm the alcoholic father, I want to be an asshole to my children. Unfortunately, that even Freddy himself couldn't save this movie. He's a wimp. And I won't get into why. I just don't kind of like that part where you're supposed to feel sorry for Freddy. Most other characters are not that interesting compared to Part 4, where we do see Alice in that one. There were her legacy with 4 and 5. A lot of them, like I said, not interesting, not engaging at all. It's a very slow story. It's very boring a lot there. When it comes to the deaths, which is not that many, I don't really care about them either. None of them are really that interesting. Number 15 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Bloods. Now, it's really cool seeing Ken Hodder. This is the first time he plays Jason. I love his freaking look. Pretty much from head to toe, everything that we see, especially whenever he comes out of the water at the beginning and they show his back and how fucked up it is. I really do enjoy that. There's a character named Nick. He's actually one of the neighbors to our main character. I think he's actually pretty cool. And there is some gory moments for what we get for this, unfortunately, neutered sequel. Now, on the other side, we look at the main character, Tina. Not really a fan of her at all. She has telekinesis. Every time she has to scrunch up her face, it looks like that, she has really bad cramps. Her mother tries to be so sweet, and unfortunately, being nice to some people kind of get you screwed. Dr. Cruz, the guy from Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2, he's supposed to act like he's nice, but he's just such a total dick, and I just don't like him in this movie. Everybody else, I don't really like that much either. I mean, even with Nick a little bit, his acting could have been a little bit better. Everybody else is just total assholes to each other. The cutaway kills, it could have been so much better. That's kind of why I have it as low as I have it here. Number 14 is going to be Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Yes, I know a lot of people like this, and people might be yelling at their phones, yelling at their computer screens. I am probably one of the few people that really cannot stand this movie. I mean, I do think that Tommy is really cool, played by Corey Feldman. His sister Trish is really awesome. She's a badass when she needs to be. Ted White, who plays Jason, he is a badass Jason. He's a scary-ass Jason. I definitely like that there. Very gory. There are some surprise deaths in this, so I do enjoy the deaths in this here, too. But just like Part 7, I am not a big fan of almost anybody else in this here. Once again, they're all total assholes to each other. I'm not engaged with these characters. I really don't care. I'm not that interested in what's going on with them. Their acting is so-so. I can't stand Ted's another character and Crispin Glover's dance. I don't know what the hell. People love that dance. I despise that dance. Number 13 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Now, the thing I think is very unique about this movie, probably compared to every other movie, is that they made it meta. Just like how Scream did it, of course, also directed by Wes Craven. But of course, a lot of people didn't get this, including myself. But now watching it now, after the Scream movies that he has directed, you kind of have more of an appreciation for this movie. It's really cool seeing all the actors in this movie from the original playing themselves. The acting is really good. Freddy's look in this is really interesting. I love his makeup job, a lot different than the previous movies. He also even has like a trench coat that I think is really cool. But on the other side, the special effects in this movie do not age very well. When it comes to the kills, they're nothing but recyclable kills from previous movies, which I was surprised Wes Craven would have actually done something like that instead of some more unique kills from him. But then it also takes a while for us to see Freddy Krueger. Moving on from there is number 12, Friday the 13th, the remake. Now, I like the character Clay, who's looking for his sister, played by Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. He does a terrific job in this here. I like the character Trey, who's kind of the opposite of Clay, complete asshole and all that, but those two know how to bounce dialogue off of each other of the scenes that they do have. I like that. Derek Mears as Jason is definitely a damn scary Jason. I enjoy him. The kills in this are really cool. On the flip side, with Jason's makeup, it looks more of like a Leatherface makeup, a little bit more, feels like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, more than a Friday the 13th movie. There's no crazy Ralph character, which actually really sucks. And then this is pretty much a quick version of Part 1 through Part 4 of the original, and since I'm not a big fan of 4, and most of this movie feels like it takes place with 4. Number 11 is going to be Friday the 13th, the original. Now, I really do like this one. Really cool seeing Kevin Bacon here. There are some very unique kills in this movie. I really did like the killer reveal. This was definitely one of those movies that's very unique compared to all the other ones out there. But on the flip side, most of the characters are okay to bad. The only character I really want to talk about is Alice, that she is boring as hell. Every time she opens up her mouth, I always want to fall asleep. Even her narrative, her actions, making a cup of tea, making possibly food for the crew. And I really wish there was actually more gore even in this very first entry than what we got.